Hey K-popers, and welcome back to IU. Today, we're going to look at the curious case of soloist Shannon Williams, an amazingly talented vocalist who, in my opinion, was the victim of the biggest waste of talent at the hands of MBK Entertainment. We'll start things off by discussing how Shannon got involved in music, and then look at her incredible showings on Korean TV as a young up-and-coming star, which actually included a duet with a SHINee member. Next, we'll talk about her much-anticipated debut and subsequent activities, and finally look at the moment the truth came out and everything came tumbling down. Before we get started, a quick thank you to IU's honorary producers. If you want to be on this list and show off your bias group to everyone watching, you can support my work on Patreon. Patrons also have a say in lots of videos before they're released, so if you want to leave your mark on IU, come join us over on Patreon. So let's take a look at why Shannon Williams has a case for being the biggest waste of talent in K-pop. Shannon Aram Williams was born on May 26, 1998 as Kim Adam. She was born in London, England to a Welsh father named Chris and a Korean mother named Jungmi. In her early years, she attended the Sylvia Young Theatre School, and at a young age she was given the role of Cosette in the famous musical Les Miserables. Eventually, she moved to Korea, where she began studying at an international school in Seoul. However, she ended up dropping out of that school and eventually found her way to MBK Entertainment, the label perhaps most famously known for girl groups T-ara and now Daya. Shannon was initially training to be the main vocalist of an upcoming girl group, but as she herself said, "I had a lot of greed towards singing." So, Shannon went to MBK and asked them to let her debut as a soloist instead. They eventually complied, and it led to the story and the career that we're talking about today. Now here's a fun question to think about. What girl group was Shannon poised to be the main vocalist for? There's very little concrete information about this, but looking at MBK's timeline of girl groups, my best guess is the girl group Five Dolls, who debuted under MBK in 2011, the same year that Shannon debuted as a soloist. Now let's back up a little bit, because when Shannon first showed her face to the world and performed in Korea, she actually didn't have a label, and she was rather young at the time. Nevertheless, she joined the cast of SBS's Star King and got a lot of people's attention with her fantastic vocal performances. She wowed the crowd with performances of both Korean and English songs, and with SHINee in attendance, she even sang a duet with Wonwoo, A Whole New World from the Aladdin soundtrack. Take a listen.
A whole new world, a new fantastic point of view.
As I mentioned, the performance caught the eyes of many people in Korea, and after another showing on Star King in 2011, she was recruited by MBK Entertainment, who at the time was known as Core Contents Media, to become a trainee. In 2012, Shannon collaborated with label mates Adam from T-ara and Gunji from Gabby and Jay on the song Day and Night, and she also featured in the song Together by Youngpa. But Shannon's biggest appearance of them all was on JTBC's Hidden Singer 2, where on November 23, 2013, she was one of the impersonators for none other than IU. The crowd was floored by her talent, and while the 5 singers including IU took turns singing lines, Shannon was the one who got the legendary 3-octave note, and she nailed it. In January of 2014, hot off the heels of that incredible performance, she returned to Hidden Singer 2 for the King of Kings finale round, where she performed Good Day in full, as well as Beyoncé's Listen. Again, just listen to Shannon's absolutely spectacular vocals here. They rival the very best in K-pop. Just a couple of weeks later, Shannon commemorated the end of her 3-year trainee period by releasing a pre-debut single called Remember You, which featured the boy group Speed's Jungkook. And 2 weeks after that, she showed up at Speed's showcase called Speed Day and sang Let It Go from Frozen as well as Rihanna's song Diamond. Once again, Shannon's vocal prowess and impressive power shone through. Take a listen.
The past is in the past.
At long last, on December 1st, 2014, Shannon made her official debut with the song Daybreak Rain, reaching number 32 on the Gaon digital chart. Not bad for a soloist debut. And later that month, she released a single with Geary Boy and Vasco called Breath. Just 3 months after her debut, Shannon released her first mini album called 18 with the lead single YY. I'm gonna go ahead and assume most people haven't heard this album, but it is absolutely worth your time. Just listen to the high notes in the beat track called I Know. A year later, Shannon released the single Lacrimal Gland as part of the Together project, but then something really strange happened. In the fall of 2016, Shannon joined the reality show K-Pop Star 6 The Last Chance, where she competed for the chance to win a contract from JYP and YG to promote her music. She was universally praised for her technical singing abilities on the show, but unfortunately she was eliminated in the semi-finals. The reason this is so strange though is that Shannon was a signed soloist at MBK, so why was she competing for a contract at a different label? In hindsight, this should have been a big red flag to all of us fans, and don't worry, we're gonna get to what was really happening behind the scenes pretty soon. But before that reveal would happen, Shannon released a single called Love Don't Hurt, which had a Korean and an English version. And interestingly, the English version was actually featuring FX's Amber. Just a month later, her second EP Hello dropped, and that is when things really took a turn for the worse. After the release of Hello, Shannon was practically unseen for an entire year when she released the single Hatred Farewell in June of 2018. And then again, it was nearly a year before we heard anything from Shannon once more. And when we did, it was in an explosive Instagram Q&A where she revealed she'd be leaving MBK soon when her contract expires. Shannon was extremely candid in answering questions from fans during this back and forth, and you'll see some of her full answers here in this video, so feel free to pause and read them in full if you like. I think these are fascinating and some of the most raw and honest statements about the reality of being in the K-pop dungeon at a label. The Q&A kicked off with the question, do you have any plans on leaving Korea? Which is where she dropped the bombshell that she was in fact going to leave MBK and return to England. Then someone asked, is living in the dungeon scary? And this is where we found out just what it's like. Being restricted from travel for no reason, having your work used without your credit, not giving you the music and activities you were supposed to have, and forcing you to do activities you didn't sign up for. It's crystal clear that MBK Entertainment grossly mismanaged Shannon Williams. They had an idol who was so incredibly talented vocally, someone who had been on TV at a very young age and shown the country that talent, and they squandered it. At every performance and every TV show she participated in, it was unanimous that Shannon had unbelievable singing ability and power to her voice that rivaled the best in the business, especially given how young she was at the time. But bafflingly, MBK refused work earmarked for Shannon and dungeoned her, letting her talent waste away and making her want to pack her bags and leave Korea altogether. We'll never know the reasons why. Perhaps the label's executives were still bitter that Shannon didn't want to be the vocalist for their planned girl group. But either way, what could have been an absolutely spectacular career simply never came to be. Nowadays, Shannon has embraced her love of video games and is an active Twitch streamer with a large following, and in fact she voiced the character Jet in the hit video game Valorant. And she's still not shy about speaking out against MBK for how they managed her. Check out this clip from her livestream of her talking about YY.
The reason why I don't like YY, right? It was fun, but the song in general was forced on me, okay? That's something that I didn't want to do.
Either way, I'm really happy for Shannon that she's taken the courageous step of leaving that life behind and finding something she enjoys doing. But I am still a huge fan of her music, and it's a shame that we didn't get more of Shannon's wonderful voice in the form of a long, successful, and well-managed career. And that is why I view her saga with MBK Entertainment as the biggest waste of talent in K-pop. So what do you guys think of Shannon's vocals and her potential as an artist? Was she the biggest missed opportunity K-pop has seen, or do you have someone else in mind? I'd love to hear what you think down in the comments. Thanks very much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe because there's a new story to discover like this and lots of K-pop content coming your way every single week right here at Hallyu. This has been Deep Dive number 31, Shannon Williams.